Welcome to the bridge that built this city.
Bottom fact.
You got 5 minutes I can borrow.
Check it out. I'm about to walk across into the Bronx on foot, and no drivers are trying to kill me. That's because this is exclusively a pedestrian bridge, and now also for motorbikes, apparently. Anyway, formerly referred to as Aqueduct Bridge, the High Bridge is the oldest in New York City. It opened in 1848 to support the final section of the Croton Aqueduct across the Harlem River. The Croton Aqueduct was an incredible engineering feat for its time. It brought fresh water from the Croton River in Westchester County over 40 miles north of here into the city and cost over $8 million to complete. Run that through an inflation calculator and $306 million in today's dollars. I thought it would be more. That is a steal by today's infrastructure cost standards.
But wait, how does a bridge build a city? Isn't it the other way around, you ask? In the comments, I'm sure, right?
Before the aqueduct, residents of New York City obtained water from cisterns, wells, and natural springs. But as population boomed in the 19th century and Manhattan moved further north of Wall Street, people did what people do and polluted. New York City became a cesspool, and the mortality rate reached 1 death per 39 inhabitants in 1830. It took a monstrous outbreak of cholera in 1832 for New York City officials to be like, we need fresh water, like now. And voila, they built it after the Great Fire of 1835. But then they started building it 2 years after that, and it saved the city from unsanitary conditions. So New York City built the High Bridge, and the High Bridge, in turn, allowed the population of New York City to grow and build.
Also, I was planning to do a lot more fun stand-ups like this, but there was a, rando screaming at me back there.
What are you doing? Hey!
And kind of threw off my game. So, it is New York, but I'm going to do what I can do with editing.
The High Bridge is 1,450 feet long and stands 114 feet above the river. When it was built, it was the longest bridge of its kind in the world. Originally, it consisted of 15 stone arches that supported the water pipe that runs through the middle of it. And like the entire aqueduct, it had to be built at an ever so slight decline so the water would flow, into the city and not away from it. So we're actually walking uphill right now. But the High Bridge here didn't become a pedestrian bridge until 1864 when a walkway was built across it. It was like the OG High Line. It had a baseball field, a lake, horse racing, polo. The designers of Central Park even created High Bridge Park on the Manhattan side of it. Man, High Bridge was the place to be in the 1800s. How did they say that in the 1800s? 'Twas the place to see the elephant and perhaps wake snakes. Bottom fact. In 1928, the 5 stone arches that spanned the Harlem River were replaced with a single steel arch. Now there are 10 stone arches left, 1 on the Manhattan side and 9 in the Bronx. Behind us is the High Bridge Water Tower, 200 feet tall and finished in 1872. Coal engines were used to pump water from the Croton Aqueduct pipe that runs through the center of the bridge up into the tower, where it could then be distributed to Upper Manhattan's booming population. It improved the water system's gravity pressure. Why was water pressure suddenly necessary? Increased use of flush toilets, more sanitary improvements thanks to High Bridge. The same coal engines that filled the tower also pumped water into the High Bridge reservoir. Completed in 1872, the reservoir was about 16 feet deep and covered about 16 acres with a total capacity of almost 11 million gallons of fresh water. Around 1920, it wasn't used anymore, so in 1934, the city turned it into a park with this public pool where the reservoir used to be. The Croton Aqueduct delivered water until 1955, and High Bridge stayed open as a pedestrian bridge. Awesome! But it wasn't maintained. So, a couple of vandals, some miscreants throwing bricks, and one Robert Moses later, and bam! Closed to the public in 1970. But in the early 2000s, the city started restoring the bridge to its original condition, sans the missing stone arches, of course. And on June 9th, 2015, it was reopened to pedestrians. Woohoo! Today, the High Bridge is a popular destination for New Yorkers and visitors. It's again the place to be in 2023. Just look at that view. And that's the High Bridge, the best way, in my humble opinion, to cross the Harlem River. Real talk for a minute. I hope you enjoyed this brief history of the High Bridge. I want to make more brief histories, so please, please, please subscribe to my channel. It'll really help increase the reach of my content, which will help me make more of these. So if you have an idea of a unique place I should explore, drop a comment below.
Until then, leave your car at home, take the train, or cross the bridge.